going to show you how to turn Witchfire from the hardest shooter you've ever played to one of the easiest. And no, that's not an exaggeration. This game is all about your build, and there's a specific meta that will let you utterly melt through it, rather than, well, getting melted. This is the single most OP item in the game. It's called the Henbane. It completely breaks the game because it takes the most scarce resource in the game, your HP, and makes it very abundant. See, instead of your elixirs healing a pathetic tiny portion of your HP, each now fully maxes out your HP bar. Not only this, but it actually gives you buffs on top of this. It's utterly insane. Broken, truly. In one equip, I went from struggling to melting the game. I can't even recall the last time I died. Rush toward this by researching magical item as often as possible at the mirror. And this ties really well into our second point, stats. The way you assign them is super important, and the Henbane actually stops you needing to waste points in healing. Because healing efficiency is always maxed with the Henbane, you can instead dedicate your stat points where they matter most. That is, vitality. You want to put the vast majority of your points into vitality, and I mean vast. The bigger your HP pool, the more value you get out of each Henbane buffed elixir, and the more you survive your expeditions. You also get a larger starting pool of elixirs when you cross certain thresholds, which again just multiplies your survival. Avoid metanoia at all costs. This might seem tempting because it gives you more of the game's dominant currency, Witchfire, but the problem here is that it will just level you up faster, and the more you level up, the harder the enemies and areas will become because they scale with you. If they outlevel your research projects and you end up being a weakling with underleveled guns and items fighting against stronger endgame enemies, you're gonna have a real bad time. Don't worry, there will be plenty of time for leveling later. For now, just focus on surviving and maxing your research. The great news here is that as of a recent buff, the starting revolver hunger is actually a great mainstay weapon. In fact, it's basically turned into the Destiny 2 revolver meta, and that's no surprise since the developers of this game are massive fans of Destiny and have straight ripped its gunplay off. And props to them, I've been wanting a Destiny clone without the toxic microtransactions and content vaulting, and here they are building the game of my dreams. If you also want to help my dreams come true, let's get our regular viewership to over 5% subscribers, and I promise I'll keep bringing you more quality content like this. To that end, the weapons you take into combat also matter. It's basically Destiny PvP meta from when I used to play years ago. Sniper rifle and revolver, or shotgun and revolver. Choose whether you want to be dominant at mid to long range or mid to short range and load out accordingly. The revolver and sniper are critical hit machines. So long as you're popping headshots, your DPS is going to be capped. You'll be multiplying this by adding elemental damage into the mix. How, I hear you ask? Like this. Two of the magical items you'll get during your research marathon toward Henbane are going to be the Painted Tooth and Crown of Fire. Both of these will have you setting enemies alight constantly. Why is this so important? Well, many of the arcana you'll unlock during your expeditions will multiply fire damage in various ways, to a point where you will literally be melting through endgame enemies. Now, we're not content to end there. We're going to make it even easier. That is, we'll be pairing these items with the spells Iron Cross and Frost Cone. Iron Cross will bind enemies in lightning, while Frost Cone freezes them, giving you both awesome crowd control of large mobs, as well as the ability to run ice damage multipliers. Once you crank some Arcana into Ice and Fire, your damage multipliers are going to get insane, to a point where the end of Expedition familiar bosses become a minor nuisance at most. In fact, with good luck, it's possible to just stunlock your way through most of the encounters. Now, will this last forever? Probably not. I assume that they'll eventually nerf the Henbane because it's just so game-changingly broken. But if you stick with these principles, you'll still have a much easier time of gunning your way through the Witch's goons as they continue to develop on the game and bring us ever more content. On that note, I'll see you in the next one.